Hello, everybody. My name is Akita Akari Aurora, and we're doing this one a little different again today. This is How Do We Bless Ourselves series. And today I thought it would be a wonderful idea to have a conversation with Dr. Victor Horsley, who I was blessed to connect with this month. He flew into my world, and he is all about making healthy choices in terms of our health care as well as our diets, what we eat. He's a foot doctor, and I will let him introduce himself from here on and call himself the proper name that he is. Hi, Dr. Horsley.
Hey, Keita. My proper name is the Foot Daddy.
Okay.
So that's how I
Okay.
roll.
Good stuff.
The theme is healthy lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's from head to toe, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes.
And very few people deal with to toe. They always talk about eating and they stop around the belly button. Very seldom do people go on to discuss the entire healthy lifestyle program, which is head to toe.
Got it.
I been practicing podiatry for a number of years and wound up in Nassau, Bahamas to help sort out the amputation crisis in the Caribbean. The Caribbean is just as horrible as, it's what they call the diaspora, where everyone comes down here and from America and Germany and France and all parts around the world, Mexico, saying, oh, this is God's country. This is so beautiful. But what I found living here in the past 4 years, it's definitely God's country, but God doesn't seem to favor everyone here in Nassau. And God disfavors a higher percentage of people, like where I came from in East St. Louis, Illinois, where people were highly disfavored by God.
Okay.
For whatever God's reason, I never questioned
Right.
the creator master plan.
Yeah.
But when I noticed that the neighborhoods where I work, where I grow up, where I'm at, 80% of the people are affected by illnesses, as opposed to 20% of the people where I don't live, which is the suburbs, the outskirts of the city, the surrounding areas. I've never been privileged to. I've always been in the hood and a city boy, and glad of that. We are who we are.
Yeah.
But this diaspora means that 80% of the people in poverty have the top 10 illnesses. 80% of the top 10 illnesses, 20% of the top 10 illnesses might be along Bay Street or less. The people come here, tourists and visitors, and they have such a beautiful time. Very few illnesses. I see them at the pharmacy.
You're saying that 80% in the lower economic areas, 80% of the top illnesses are represented. Basically, that's how it boils down.
I say 100% of the top illnesses
100%.
80% of the people.
Gotcha.
Poverty.
Gotcha.
And it affects 20% of the people who are well-to-do.
Got it. 100%. Wow. Okay.
So if there's 35 million diabetics in the US, and or roughly 10% of the population. In this area in the Caribbean, I think it's 20% of the population. So let's just take where we are, Nassau.
Yeah.
And it boasts the Bahamas of having anywhere from, let's say, about 375,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, 10% of that would be
37,000.
Would be 3,000 of
375, 37,000, eh?
10% of
More than math. 10% of 375, 37,000, I think. And then double that by two, right? So that's about 80,000 roughly. 20% would be like 80,000 of us are not 100% affected by these illnesses and diseases.
and I don't think the numbers are quite that high, but
Fuzzy math, round
they
it up.
are high. They are very high, I must say.
So what we want to do with this information and my intention with this interview, with this offering, is just to make people more aware of the choices that we have in terms of healthcare, and in terms of our foot care, in terms of our eating habits, because we want to shift towards, if we're in the 80, if you're in that 100% category, we want to decrease that. And if you represent 80% of the people, well, we want to move towards that 20% of the people where we're more healthy. Well, even if it's a low number, we want to increase that low number. We want improvement. So how do we bless ourselves in terms of mindsets, and how do we need to prepare ourselves to really live a healthier life from mind, not from I was gonna say mind, body, and soul, but not more mind, body, and soul, but as you said, from head to toe. What are some of the things? Because it's about habits and mindsets. It's something that we talk about a lot, changing the mindsets and just changing our daily habits in order to live healthier and more balanced lives, and also to prevent, a lot of people go through different illnesses and diseases that we really can prevent. So there's certain steps that we can do to really prevent the diagnosis of certain illnesses, and diabetes is definitely one of those things that you can prevent. So how do people start? We know we're living unhealthy now. We know that, right? We can see it in our bellies. we can see it in the sizes of our guts. We know it when we go into the hospitals that, they will tell you. I know this was a fact when I was in the hospital in 2012, and I think it's still the same, that most people are in the hospital dealing with hypertension or diabetes. It's a major health impediment for our society. So how do we move from hypertension and diabetes, high numbers, to a healthier Bahamas?
Well, when you think about all-cause mortality, most people who are diabetics die from heart disease, not from diabetes in particular, because there's the growth factors that are in our natural growth factors that are in our body that are used to repair cells, to repair a scratch in the skin or wound or heal up a surgical site. The growth factors come in, but growth factors kind of get out of control in diabetes, and they cause bigger problems. The growth factors like AGE and protein kinase C, and the glycol pathway, some stuff I'm going to go over in my brief talk. But how we start is by going to YouTube.
Okay.
And YouTube, let's pull up some music from the Bahamas on YouTube in 1950.
Okay, I like where you're going, Doc.
And when I pull that YouTube up and I put in music of the Bahamas, not only do I hear such sweet sounds of the Bahamian music, that is absolutely wonderful.
Right.
Whether it's Rake and Scrape, or if it's Charlie Adamson singing Goobay. I believe it's, okay. One thing I love the music, but when I look at the people in 1950. They're slim, trim,
More in shape.
and healthy.
All right. So the music, they were grooving to better music and they were living healthier lives. And that's important. The music does impact our subconscious and our thinking. Sure does.
The people have doubled in their weights from the 1950s, literally doubled. And they call it BMI, and there's special calculations. You can put your weight and height and whatever else into this and come up with the body mass index. But certain things weren't around in 1950.
Yeah.
The BMIs, okay?
Yeah.
The weight loss products.
Right.
It
Well,
just wasn't around.
the lifestyles were healthier, right? Just by well, we didn't have as much access to fast food, right, back then. So you were cooking
We had no
healthy food.
access.
You had
to
no
fast food.
access. You had no
Correct.
access to fast food. So you were
Right.
cooking, you know, and you're as opposed to somebody preparing your food, you were actually preparing the food. And then the source of the food was so much better then because you had more people in the farming and fishing industries. So your
Correct.
food was coming straight from off of the ocean or straight from off of the farm. And even though, you know, we still have farm food, the quality of farming and the quality of foods that we're getting now from the soil are just not the same. So we definitely have to be more aware of what foods we're buying. And it's something, since I met you, something that I've definitely become more aware of, that I consider that I eat healthy, but recently I have had to be more conscious of the food that I'm putting in my body because I have gained weight. And with that awareness, I'm more like, okay, what are you eating today and what are you not eating? And then I met you. And it was like, okay. So
and where did we meet? Where did we meet?
We met at the fresh market, at
Farmers
the farmers market, right? At the farmers market, buying healthy food.
We didn't meet at a bar or any other
No.
crazy. We met at the farmers market where 90% of the foods are not imported. When you go to our local supermarkets, 90% of the food is imported.
Yeah.
And you can bet for sure those foods contain antibiotics, glyphosates. Those foods contain pesticides. Those foods are in 3 different categories. 1 is GMO, genetically modified. 2 is regular poisonous. And 3, they have new organic lines and local food. And so we met at the farmers market where they're selling the local great foods here, and the farms, Miss Forbes' farm, Miss Miller's farm,
Yes.
my farm, Miss Hume's farm, and now they all got these farms, or they pick up food from Andros, which is a family island, of course.
Yeah, because Doc, not to cut you off, but it's part of what you're saying. Tell the audience, because you've been here for 4 years and you've been making healthy choices, healthy food choices right here for 4 years. So where have you been buying your food? So we haven't discussed this yet, but Doc only eats local or organic food, nothing else. And he's been in the Bahamas for 4 years. He's been able to do that. And so he can do it. Everybody can do it. It's just a matter of making the commitment to do it. So while you were here for 4 years, Doc, where have you been buying your food? How have you been able to maintain your healthy lifestyle choice, which is, hey, I'm only going to eat locally grown foods. I'm only going to eat organic foods. How do you do it?
Of course, there are some exceptions. Yesterday, I went to City Market and picked up some Mahatma organic brown rice. That doesn't have the 0 calories in it. And you mentioned that you've been eating healthy. Well, the problem isn't so much as the foods in this world as much it is the oils that we cook the foods in.
Correct.
And we're going to go into that, some of the oils and the hazardous oils that cause our bodies to react. And when it's time for our bodies to heal a certain part, if we have a fracture or a cut or an operation, be it minor or major, our body has to send out stem cells to begin healing. And those stem cells get confused because when you eat unhealthy oils, it sends the stem cells in the wrong direction with the wrong message. And we never heal properly. And that's why there's such a surge in diabetes and cancer and heart disease,
Okay.
etc.
The oils.
So you say, well, no oil. It's just the oil that it's not as much the fast food as you and I alluded to, the fast food joints, well, none in the 50s. They started springing up around the 70s, and it was around 1970 where all hell broke as far as the health crisis is concerned.
Okay.
And so it's not as much the food, it's the oil that they cook it in.
Cooking the foods in. Okay, gotcha.
It's so dangerous. And say, well, what oil is dangerous? Well, almost every oil is dangerous. And I always say, except for coconut oil and olive oil. Olive oil, you eat, never heat olive oil because it has a low flash point, and coconut oil has a higher flash point. Therefore, when you heat it, it doesn't burn. It doesn't become a omega trans fatty oil that destroys your system once you eat it. Coconut oil stays a lovely oil, and it actually does the body good.
Good. So when we're cooking, the best oil to cook with is coconut oil. And the other alternative is olive oil, two great oils. But the cooking oil, the oil that you want to fry your plantains with, whatever you're cooking, choose coconut oil. It's the best one on the market. And then olive oil.
You're right. Never choose margarine.
Got it.
Matter of fact, I'm a vegan, but the three healthy choices for cooking: peanut oil, coconut oil, and actually lard. Today, I'm not going to promote the benefits of healthy meat eating, which there are benefits for those who can find farm fresh, healthy meats.
Okay.
So I'm not coming off like everybody's got to be like me, everybody's got to be a vegan, but we do have to make our healthier choice. We can't substitute not one day a week a farm fresh chicken for a poisonous chicken with all those hormones, steroids, antibiotics, etc., that they put into all meat that's delivered to the Bahamas and to the Caribbean. Therefore, in the Caribbean, 126 million people, is the worst amputation, diabetic and amputation rate on planet Earth.
126 million in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean.
Amputees from diabetes?
No, the inhabitants, the population of the Caribbean.
Oh, inhabitants, not amputees.
126 million people
inhabit diabetes.
The population of the Caribbean.
Right, is 126 million.
Period.
Oh, okay, now I thought you said amputees. What's the amputee number? Because a big part of your effort is to prevent the amputation when you do have to deal with diabetes. What's that? Do you have a number for the amount of people that have to go through the amputation?
Oh, yes, it's horrible. And I'm sure there's anywhere between 500, 600, 700, 800 amputations occurring in Nassau alone, whether it's the big toe, the second toe, half a foot, below the knee, above the knee, etc. And some people have multiple operations. And so it's twice that, the rate of amputation is twice that of the rest of the world. That seems to be the problem. And we have to encourage people somehow to make a drastic change, to go back to 1950, to back where everyone was healthier, had less illnesses, back when I think there was one dialysis place in Nassau, maybe one. Now I'm sure there's, I don't know the number, but there's got to be 5 or 6, plus access in the hospital, plus people do peritoneal dialysis at home, and they just flush themselves out at home. Right. It's so expensive, and it's so unnecessary if you're not tearing up your kidneys, which leads to end-stage kidney disease.
Okay. So go ahead. No, go ahead.
was thinking about a little presentation I made up on Zoom.
Let's
So you
go.
let me know when to consider starting that. What questions do you have before I get
No,
started?
I'm asking as you speak. I'm asking as you speak.
Yeah,
they
right,
come
right.
they come into my head as you speak, but I want people to hear whatever message you have to say. So go ahead, just go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna share this screen. Oh, and
Uh, can you share
can
it from
you?
your end? How let's see. Okay, let me do a share now. Oh, I think I have to do allow you to share screen now.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
How do we
do.
do that now? Now you put me on the spot. Share screen, multiple participants simultaneously. Okay, so you should be able to go now. See if you can do it now.
All right. Let's see if oh, one thing.
While Doc is setting that up, one of the main things I'm hearing him say is, we have gone away from a system that was really working for us in terms of um, healthiness, making healthy choices, the farming and the food choices. So even though we have more options, and I think this is one of the main things that I'm noticing a lot with technology, and convenience. We do have the technology, we do have the convenience, but we still have to make the healthier choices. So we have probably supermarkets in every neighborhood, and but I was
I'm
was
gonna,
I was
that's a good
happy
point.
to see over the last couple weekends there were farmers markets popping up in different communities.
Right. Very
So we
good.
have to take advantage of that, and we have to seek the farmer out and get the fruits and vegetables and grains and stuff that are healthier for us, even though we have supermarkets 5 minutes away from us, so we have to make that special effort to be healthier, because as we know, we're in a season of our health is our wealth, right? We have to eat healthier. We have to make healthier choices when it comes to our lifestyles and our food. So eating is no longer just about, okay, I'm just trying to lose some weight. It's, we're preparing our bodies to really combat illnesses and diseases that are very that like unhealthy bodies. So the better we eat, the less the better our immunity system is, and we have more
As
defense.
as witnessed by the recent pandemic,
Right.
which everyone's actually got much sicker.
Right.
I don't know how many people it saved in this area, but it didn't seem to save too many people.
Right.
It was a
So
weak effort by the world. If they could have made people sit at home, then they could have made people start eating salads and farm
right.
fresh foods,
Right.
make people make healthier choices. Oh, we can't tell people what to do. Oh, unless the World Health Organization tells us to tell you what to do. And
Right.
go
Right.
home and lock your door and sit in the chair for 17 months. And
Right.
guess what illness increased? Blood clots.
Oh, and
Sitting there.
cancer. I think, and cancer as well.
Oh,
There
well,
was
let's go over the top 7 or 8. They
this,
all increased, but
right.
the most rarest thing are blood clots.
Yeah.
And blood clots increased significantly
Mm.
because people are sitting down. Now we know people didn't have
Um,
access to the hospital, access to the pharmacies, access to churches. We all had to sit in the house. And yes, cancer, heart disease, HIV, domestic abuse
mm.
skyrocketed.
Does stress and blood clots and stress, do they have a connection together?
So stress connects everything together. So the
Oh,
answer is
okay.
always yes when you add plus stress.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, tell
So,
us about your presentation. What do you got for us?
well, that's an email address to reach me. And this is today. And we're going to talk about the AAA and T2D, type 2 diabetes. I'm Victor Horsley. I'm a master surgical instructor for the International Minimally Invasive Foot and Ankle group. And my next gig is in July at the Orthopedic Learning Center, the top learning center in Illinois, where there's a lab, videos, everything needed for surgical instruction. And what our group does, and what I've been doing for the past 35 years, is teaching surgeons how to be master surgeons.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal in life.
Good.
Now, our problem, especially our people, anyone of African descent, really everyone has the problem, but it's 80% worse in Black and brown people. So there has to be some type of awareness, access, action, or maybe AAA might stand for anti-amputation associates, which doesn't seem quite right.
I love it.
But,
You know, AAA is one of my names too. I love it. AAA.
Yeah, that's your name, correct?
Yeah. Go ahead. Kismet.
And I like, that's exactly why I thought that I came up with this theme. I know you, I started to put your full name down. I said, no, I'll just use Akita.
It's cute.
But our awareness part of the book review, and the books I recommend, The Tipping Point, The Emperor of All Maladies, The China Study, Deep Nutrition, Mastering Diabetes, and Proteinaholics.
Okay.
We need access to research and published studies.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, the books I recommend, The Tipping Point, The Emperor of All Maladies, The China Study, Deep Nutrition, Mastering Diabetes, and Proteinaholics. We're so addicted to protein. I gotta have my steak. I gotta have my meat. I gotta have my.
Yeah.
No, first of all, it's not yours. It's just meat. It's not my meat. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but it's actually too much protein make people sicker. And then we take action. The diabetic challenge is to help stop all these unnecessary amputations. 50% of the amputations are completely avoidable when it comes to diabetes. And of course, once again, the books I recommend. Remember that guy E40, and he's got that song called Everybody's Got Choices. Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I borrowed. Go ahead.
I don't remember the song, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
So it's action.
Got choices.
So the AAA is action, awareness. What's the middle one?
Awareness, action,
and
access.
Okay. Awareness, access, and action. Awareness, access, and action. Okay. I like that. All right.
All right. And so in the theme of E40, I just wrote down some things about yep and nope. Like, do I eat what I want? Nope.
All right.
Do I stick to a plan? Yup.
You're right.
Drink sodas all day? Nope.
Nope.
Do I pee all night like our diabetics do? Yup.
Okay.
They might pee 20 times a night.
Okay.
Lazy as a slug? Nope. Exercise like a mug?
Yep. You do for sure.
Yeah. Do I sit at home? Nope. Get infections to the bone, which is what causes amputations. Yep.
Okay.
Just ignore my feet. Nope. Get out of my seat. Yep. Daily check my sugar. Nope. Because, I'm diabetic. I don't even check my sugar. I hear it all the time. They don't even know that sugar's in the 3/4s and low 500 just happen to be in the foot doctor's office. Oh, it's just a foot doctor. It's just an ingrown nail. Yeah. It turns out your blood sugar is 6 times the normal rate. And you have no idea. I feel great.
I'm just going to close my window. This wind today is, woo. Storm kicking up. Keep on going, Doc.
Yeah.
Storm kicking out there.
I don't know
if the Zoom is picking up all that wind noise. So I just closed the window. Go ahead.
All right. So once again, daily check my sugar. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Let my eyes go bad. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what diabetes leads to. Lose
Mm,
my toe and my leg. Nope.
yeah.
But do what the research said. Yep.
Mm.
Everybody's got choices. I got a call coming through my computer. I'll
Okay.
find call him back. Everybody's got choices. Let my kidney shut down. Yep, that's what they do. Trip and
Okay.
fall around town. No, because there's balance issues with our
Okay.
diabetics. They take nosedives all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Vitamin B levels low. Yep.
Mm,
Polyneuropathy for sure. Nope.
mm,
Numb fingers and toes. Yep.
yep.
Succumb to these foes. Nope. Oh, where's my cursor? There we go.
Mhm.
Everybody's got choices.
Yep.
So I'll never give up. Nope.
Nope.
I will rise to the top. Yep. Never go whack.
Nope.
Nope. Don't ever look back. Yep. Fall off like a lame. Nope. No one else is to blame.
Yep.
Yep. Everybody's got choices. Type 1 diabetes for milk for our infants.
Mm,
Cow milk causes type 1 diabetes. The doctors, us doctors say, oh, we don't know what causes it. So keep drinking all the milk you can shove in that baby. And they
oh,
wind up with type
wow.
1 diabetes.
Right.
Type
And
2 diabetes for life. Nope. You don't need type 2 diabetes for life because it's completely reversible, but not in the Caribbean.
okay.
The only thing is reversible is going from one phase of type 2 diabetes to a worse phase.
Okay. And you know that it's reversible through your diet.
It's
Is that
100% what you eat.
reversible?
So why go to the doctor for them to treat a symptom where they should treat the cause?
And you're saying that type 1 diabetes is coming from the milk. So if people stop drinking milk, does that reverse it as well?
Your mother gives you the milk from the cow and you can't choose.
Okay.
As a
So
baby, instead of putting you on the tit, the mother puts you on cow milk.
okay. So you're
And
saying
that's what,
like
I'm sorry.
a young person who if a child dealing with diabetes, type 1 diabetes, the source of that is generally from the amount of milk the child has consumed or the person has consumed since childhood up to in source is coming from whatever type of milk that child is consuming.
Type 1 diabetes is an infant problem.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And normally people give infants breast milk.
Gotcha.
But for some reason in our society, we now use cow milk for infants.
Got it.
That cow milk causes type 1 diabetes in the
Got it.
first year of life.
Got
So they
it.
don't have a choice.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
That's clear.
Yeah, that's infant. Now there's a type, what they call type 1.5 diabetes. And that's the adult onset diabetes where you need insulin in your 40s or early 50s. That's
Okay.
called type 1.5 diabetes, where you have no insulin produced and you have to start taking insulin because without insulin, either produced by your body or exogenous from outside source, we all die.
Okay. And for the type 1 diabetes for mothers, soon to be mothers, I mean, this is a good red flag. Don't use cow's milk. Only give your kids your own breast milk. What about the formula, the milk formula? Because that was a big thing in 2020, that right? Them not having of this formula milk to feed their babies. What do you think about that?
I think that there was a big push in the US to take corn syrup out of soda pop. I don't know if you recall that about 10 years ago, where there was so much corn syrup, it was causing epigenetic changes and genetic mutations. Corn syrup,
Right.
diabetes.
Okay.
Okay. Guess where corn syrup is now? Infant formula. First
Got it.
ingredient.
Mm.
Most infant formula has corn syrup. Now you ban it from the adult drinks, but you give it to your baby. And that don't
Okay.
make no sense.
So they found one, they took it out of one thing and they put it into another thing, and it's still
Well,
making everybody sick.
Yeah, they put it in everything, you mean, and they took it out of one thing.
One thing.
Which was the poison that people can't stop. They're so addicted to soda.
Sodas, right.
It's such addiction.
Yeah.
Such an, oh, I like my whatever, my flavored drink. I don't want to mention brand names because it's all poison.
Right,
It's all
right.
poison.
All right.
And we'll move on to type 2 diabetes for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you were type 2 diabetic, Keita, and the doctor, I walk in the room and tell you that diabetes in your case is completely reversible.
Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, how is it completely reversible? Well, you have to make a lifestyle change. You have to exercise, eat right, eat clean, stop eating the bad oils, and stop. And no, the patient normally says, I'll just take the metformin and the insulin. I'm not about to change my life. I like my milkshakes.
Yeah.
I like my steak. I like my Philly cheesesteak. I like my deep fried, whatever it is.
Yep.
And so I think for you, Keita, if you were type 2, which route would you take if you were told that type 2 diabetes is completely reversible?
Change my diet completely.
I think so too. I think you would also.
Yeah.
Imagine the millions of people who don't.
Yeah.
They'd rather take their medicine and go on eating the crap that they eat.
Right. That was what was his name? Michael, was it Michael Moore who did that movie back in the, was it the 90s or early 2000s, Sick Nation, about, in terms of America, just, just people choosing to be sick by their constant choices. And the thing is, we always have the healthier alternative, but it is harder. I talk about it, a lot of different things, and people say, but it's not as easy as you say it is. And I usually say, I never said it was easy. I said, this is what is required, and a big part of life, whether it's healthcare, the foods we eat, just our habits or whatnot, is making those lifestyle changes, because they're not easy, but it's worth it. And I think that's the main point. And also it becomes easier. I mean, right now I'm literally choosing, because I don't have to do it, but I'm choosing to make the transition from to eat more organic foods. And that's a conscious decision, because automatically when I go in the supermarket, I'm picking up a lot of GMO stuff. Now I already consider myself, okay, a healthy eater, but it's another layer of, okay, I have to be more conscious. And it is harder for me to make those conscious decisions than just do what I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, because my diet has changed a lot. I went from eating everything to not eating meat, and now eating more vegetables, and the juices was a big part of my weight loss journey. Reading labels, seeing what's in it, realizing that, okay, most of these juices are sugar. So eating natural juices and locally made juices. I did that for years. My recent weight gain really is because I added things back into my diet, like sugars and juices and breads and rice that I had given up for years, So it's hard. It is hard, but we have to do it because we're worth it. Our health is worth it. I prefer to spend those extra dollars, may it be $10 extra, $20 extra, $30 extra on food than on healthcare and on bills and on medical bills and prescriptions and doctor bills. I prefer to spend that money on food any day.
I think people would rather be sick. I really do.
Well, yeah.
I have come to the conclusion. I'd rather be sick as long as I can be spoiled and eat what I want and do what I want. I don't They don't mind being sick.
Yeah.
Like I had some idiot tell me, I said, well, I feel a little left out that I didn't catch COVID since COVID started 10,000
Wow.
years ago. I
Wow.
feel so left out. And the
Wow.
idiot tells me, oh, you probably had it and didn't know it. I said, no, I tested every week, homeboy. Okay. Because I like to travel.
Right,
And my
right.
test came back consistently negative. I
Negative.
wish I did have COVID. Now
Right.
remember at first you get 2 weeks off work for free. You know,
Wow.
you get paid for 2 weeks. They closed the whole building down. Remember the beginning of the pandemic, closing the entire building down for 2 weeks.
Well, they shut everything
And they got
down.
paid. And they got paid to do
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
I wish I
Every,
had COVID. So you
listen.
can pay me to do absolutely nothing. And now I think isolation is down to 2 days or 1 day. Or
Right.
they got the whole thing wrong. And type 3 diabetes,
Yeah, let's go
dementia,
on.
Alzheimer's. Did you know there was a type 3 diabetes?
I didn't. And when you're saying that type 3 diabetes is dementia, both of my grandparents, my grandfather died of dementia, my grandmother Alzheimer's. So this makes
Right.
me look at this like, all right.
Improper glucose regulation of the brain. And anytime in the human body there's improper glucose or insulin delivery or lack of insulin or the receptors aren't working for whatever reason, it's diabetes.
Right,
And
right.
when it occurs in the
Different parts
brain and
of the
Alzheimer's
body.
and dementia, it's type 3.
Got it. Got it.
So the people plan to be a sucker for life? Nope. Better give a damn today.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so remember type 2 and type 3, and not to mention type 1 diabetes. Everybody's got choices.
Yeah.
Awareness, access.
action and access. Yeah.
Yep, awareness, access, and take
And
action.
action.
You got to be aware. And so people say, oh, no one ever told me that soda pop is killing me.
Right.
No one ever told me that it's changing the genetic structure that my ancestors have set forth thousands of years ago to make us stronger and healthier. And here we are tearing down all the genetic structure that our ancestors set us up with to fail in life.
I'm a preacher when it comes to awareness. It just makes it's like if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, it's like, even like I said, for me, I got to convince myself to do things, but once I'm on that track, I'm there. But the awareness is so powerful. And we're living in this age of, there's so much information out there, it's like to be ignorant is really a shame, because we have so much opportunity to become aware of what we need and what we don't need, what's healthy, what's not healthy. We have the television that is in a whole different conversation, but information is there. We have the internet, we have books, we have, we're in an age of knowledge, and the knowledge is there. It's not like, you gotta walk to the library or the library is closed, or it's so much stuff at our fingertips in terms of information and access and awareness, that there's no excuses about not knowing what to do. When you do it and how you do it is up to you. I mean, there are excuses, but they're not acceptable excuses.
There are so many excuses people use not to have this information, so they could go on being spoiled and continue with their greasy, obese lifestyle.
Yes.
All around the world, greasy and obese.
Now, Doc is not soft on words, guys. He tells you as it is.
So these numbers. Now, the incidence per 100,000 diabetic population. And let's look at the UK. Per 100,000, they have 285. In the USA, 590.
590. Wow.
In the Caribbean, 936 people.
Tesla's number code
Per 100,000.
Wow.
are
Wow.
diabetic. So if there's three times that, so that's 1,000. That means 3,000, 3,500. There's between 3,000 to 4,000 known diabetics diagnosed, and it's probably 5-10 times worse for people who don't even know. They have to
Right.
pass out work, or they have to
Right.
be told by the doctor when they go to have foot surgery or eye surgery or heart surgery. Did you know your sugar is triple the amount?
Right.
But look at the numbers
Yeah.
in Barbados.
So is all of that dairy and meat?
All of that is improper choices, sugar and fats, the
Okay.
wrong fats. I'm not
Sugar.
blaming dairy
Okay.
because it probably has its benefits. I don't eat it, but it
Okay.
probably,
So
once
sugar is
again, meat, if
mhm.
you raise your own animals, have your own chickens, then I guess meat's okay. I'm not
Yeah,
against
yeah,
meat.
yeah.
Don't eat
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Why don't I eat it? Because there was no fresh meat, no fresh kill around.
Right. Right.
I don't. And if there's no fresh kill, then I'm not eating it. I'm not
Right.
eating meat that's been in a can, processed, meat that's been frozen for a year, meat that's been
Mhm.
shipped around the world. I'm just not going to eat it. And that's people eat what they want to eat, and
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
So sugar
So
and
those are the
and the
numbers.
population in the Caribbean, it's so much smaller than Europe and North America, but the numbers are double and triple.
Thank you.
Mm.
I'm gonna move on. That's basically said. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do your own math on that one.
Those books I mentioned earlier, and you can Google these books. You said we got
Okay.
all this access to information, but
Yeah.
people are actually getting dumber, if you haven't noticed. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
have.
add that on top of that, and people get extra dumber
But
because
that,
the kids got
yeah,
to suffer
right. And
at
that's
home,
also
no
because of the
school.
foods, right? What do you think about that? Just our capacity, our brain capacity. Do you think the connection is there's a connection with the foods we eating and our brain capacity? Because what would like fish? I remember my growing up eating. I don't know if this was a folk tale or whatnot, but anyway, we would always say eating the eye of the fish was brain food. There's certain brain foods. So do you think that our diets really are lacking those brain foods that actually make us a little more intelligent and help us to make more intelligent decisions in terms of what to eat, what not to eat, and all of that in our healthcare? Do you think the
I'm not
food
sure
making
what
us
you're talking
dumber?
about. I'm not sure what you're talking about, because are you talking about fresh fish that's free of mercury and toxins? Are you talking about fresh meat that's free of poisons, mad cow disease, and all the other cancer, tumors? What fish, what type of live food are you talking about? Or are you talking about processed
I'm
fish
talking
that's
about,
been cooked
I'm
in
talking about
oil?
any live food, I guess. Any live food would be
Well, see, that's the
great.
problem. If you can eat, if you know where your fish is coming from, you have your own pond, and that pond is free of toxins, then it's probably some good fish.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't eat it, but help yourself. If you
Mm-hmm.
have your own farm, grass-fed, free range, etc., then it's probably okay to eat, and it probably has its benefits. Or as you eat, make bone soup in some parts of the world, and they
Mm-hmm.
pass the bones from house to house
So
because,
the mercury levels in the fish it would impact our brain cells.
of course, that's why
Okay.
we're not supposed to put mercury in our hand. If a thermometer breaks, you're not supposed to roll the little drop of mercury around in your hand. That
Correct.
makes the thermostat indicate what temperature it is, because it's toxic. It's
Correct.
poisonous.
Correct.
And
Correct.
same thing in our fish, and
Right.
same thing in our foods.
Right.
So the authors of those books, or The Tipping Point, is Malcolm Gladwell. The Emperor of All Maladies is Siddhartha Mukherjee. Deep Nutrition, Catherine Shanahan and Luke Shanahan. Mastering Diabetes is Cyrus Kambata and Robbie Barbaro. Those are books, and here they are, The Tipping Point, and the tipping point discusses that magic moment when an idea, trend, or social behavior crosses a threshold, tips, and spreads like wildfire. It's time to flip the script on diabetes. It's time to reach the tipping point and stop this escalating trend in not only in the Caribbean, but around the world. The Emperor of All Maladies, Siddhartha Mukherjee, about the people who have soldiered through toxic, bruising, and draining regimes in order to survive. We're here because our ancestors fought to survive. What about our kids? Are we still fighting to survive, or are we just watching television and let the television and computers and phones tell us what to eat? Is it a Big Burger Wednesday? Is it Fish Friday? Is it Steak Monday? And where's the steak coming from? Is it good stuff or not so good? Deep nutrition. I keep trying to read the whole book, but I got to keep reading the first part because she gets into the second half of the book about meat recipes. And if you're eating clean meat, which I do recommend the book, but I can't take that second part because I don't eat any kind of meat, clean or unclean. But what she does go on to talk about is monounsaturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acids, fatty acids from the meats that we eat, and deep nutrition. Seriously avoiding over 10% of the trans fatty acids, the MUFAs, the PUFAs, whatever oils and stuff that we're eating. We shouldn't eat so much fat and oils. 10% is the limit. But the polyunsaturated fatty acids and the trans fatty acids are what's really getting to people and causing genetic mutations for the worse, not for the better. Our genes modify, just like bugs can, their genes will modify them to withstand a bug spray or a toxin so they can live. Our human body is set up that way, but we keep tearing it down for some reason. It examines the habits that kept our ancestors disease-free. And also it examines diets around the world known to help people to live longer, healthier lives, like the Mediterranean or Okinawa. They're called the blue zone. I would like to see the Caribbean as a blue zone. It's a blue zone for tourists. But it's not a blue zone for the inhabitants. It's a red zone for the inhabitants. So the China study, this guy, Dr. Campbell.
So go back to that last slide. I have a question on that. The MUFAs, what are those? The MUFAs, the PUFAs, SFAs, TFAs, what are those? Those are the trans fatty acids. What are those?
Those are those are the oils we eat or the fats we eat.
And those should be avoided?
Yes, we're too much of them.
So we need to be aware that, so when we're reading the labels on foods, we're going to see polyunsaturated fatty acids, trans fatty acids. What is the SFAS and TFAS for? What's SFAS?
Saturated fatty acids.
Saturated fatty acids.
Saturated. And trans or mega trans fatty acids. That's
the MUFAS is the mega.
MUFAS is mono unsaturated fatty acid.
So those are the things you should be aware of and looking for on labels as you look at labels on foods and avoiding those things.
You should be aware of them in your brain. Stop eating, like even crackers. Have all these trans fatty acids in chips. Processed food, and that gets into our bodies and causes the reactive oxygen species to blow up, and our bodies are. That's why they sell alkaline water, because people are too acidic. Everything is alkaline this, alkaline that. Because people are figuring out that these acidic fatty acids are killing people and causing diabetics around the world.
Right.
Eight-
And you saying that in the healthier parts of the world that have healthier diets are the Mediterranean and Okinawan? Is that Japan?
That's correct. That's the
Okay.
island off Japan, Okinawa, and it's a
Okay.
blue zone where
Okay.
people eat old school eating like 1950, and they're
Okay.
still healthy.
Excellent. So blue zones, can you look up blue zones? Like this is the first time I've heard about it. So can you look up like blue zones, like Google it and maybe see who is a blue zone and I mean just for personal research, who which countries are blue zones and kind of look at what they're eating and their diets or whatnot.
It won't be hard. There's only 5 blue zones in the
Okay.
world.
All right, tell us about those. Where are they? Who are the blue zones?
Well, let's start with the Seventh-day Adventists out in
Ah,
Loma Linda, California,
okay. All right.
and they get together on Saturday. I've never been to a Seventh-day Adventist church,
Right.
but I do call myself a Six-day Adventist because
Okay.
I like the lifestyle, but I don't go to church.
Got
And
it. Got
so,
it.
because I never could understand praying, say your grace over a meal that's going to kill you. That
Right.
is such, I can't get my head around that. Okay, we're feeding you today, Thanksgiving. We've got chitlins, turkey, ham. We've got crackling. We've got greasy ham bones floating around in the greens. You know, I just can't get my head around how people systematically kill themselves. And our parents say, oh, it did you right. You grew up.
The
Yeah, but you
power.
changed genetic structure that your parents set up to keep healthy siblings, healthy children, healthy family members. It's all being destroyed now.
It is.
And
It
what
sure.
happens when 80% of the Caribbean people die off? Well, you think, well, China's already
I
here.
know. Good question. Look at
Greek,
those. Everybody's wanting you to
Mexican,
listen.
okay?
They want you to migrate to places now. They're telling you to bring your sick self over to them. Right? So there are a lot of indicators, right? If you anyway, that's a whole different thing. Okay, so we have the 7 Day Adventists. Who else?
Let me, let me
Who are some of the blue
answer your
zones?
question. To answer your question, first of all, Michael Moore, that movie might have been Sicko, but he did about 9 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And but if I do a new search for blue zones,
Mm-hmm.
and Loma Linda, California is going to pop up.
Okay.
Okinawa is going to pop up. Someplace in Greece is going. I mean, I think it's Greece. They're
Okay.
different. There's only 5 spots around the world where collectively people are trying to not only stay healthy, but to cause positive changes in their epigenetics, so their genetic structures make healthy children and grandchildren. And your grandchildren aren't now succumbing to 1 out of 42 males being born with autism.
Beautiful.
1 out
Beautiful.
of 42?
Mm,
Come on.
yeah.
1 out
But
of 42 males? I think it's 1
you know
out
what?
of 55 females. But why are
We
all the
get
kids? You know, it's
sick.
funny. Let me just say this. When we were
Uh-huh.
growing up, if somebody thought I was doing something that wasn't too cool, they said, you retarded. Oh, you can't say that word now. There's a lot of
Mm,
words you can't say. Retarded, fat, lazy, because you're not being accepting. You don't
You
understand.
get
You're
canceled. You get cancel
heartfelt
culture is
feeling
real.
to see me gorge myself and weigh 600 pounds. And
Okay.
I'm human too. Please accept me.
Is accepting the unhealthiness, but guess what? You know what I was thinking about while you were naming those blue zones? I say, hey, turn your home into a blue zone. We cannot control everybody, but I love the serenity prayer. Let me know what I can do and let me know what I can't do, what I can control and who I can't control. And I
Well,
think we all have
exactly
the
right.
power to change ourselves. We all have the power to impact the homes and our wider communities, but it starts with ourselves. So
I
yeah,
don't think we have the power. I don't. I disagree. We all do not have the power because of mental illnesses caused by too much MUFAs, PUFAs, ESFAs, and TIFAs.
okay.
Okay?
Okay.
We don't have the ability to make the choice because it has caused mental retardation, people making bad decisions. And just check with the Justice Department. Are this crime improving or getting worse? And
So
most of that
I think that
is
it's
mental
literally so that goes back to my other question. Are
domestic abuse.
are these are these foods making us dumber? And I think you just
No,
answered.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm going back to the word retarded. Now, I don't know, this
You're
video might
well,
wind up
listen, one of the
in the White
things,
House or on the Prime Minister's desk in the Caribbean. But first of all, we need to recognize what retarded is. And
right?
we need to start with us because we're being retarded if we continue not to change our diets to eliminate type 2 diabetes.
You're right.
If we
You're right.
continue to eat Philly cheesesteaks knowing that they don't use real cheese anymore, they use cheese with, and they don't use real meat anymore because
You're
it's either
right.
farm meat, cancerous meat, tumor meat, and the meat is got all kinds of reactive oxygen species in it, extremely acidic, and then you cook it and make it even worse. So I think we're the retarded ones
You're right.
for
And
allowing our children to eat that crap. Oh, it's just a little bit of sugar. They used to give sugar to the babies in the neonatal unit. Oh, it helps quiet them down. No, it makes them retarded.
you're
And
right.
this is the first Zoom I've done where I'm using the word retarded.
Well, you know
But
what? I think
fat.
I think listen, one of
It's
the
not
things
fluffy. It's not thick. It's fat.
that
Okay. It's not thick. It's not
well, listen,
like that.
one of my critiques with the whole COVID experience was, there was this article one day in the newspaper, and I saw it, and they said there was people on the beach, and they literally it was front page, and it said COVIDiots, and I said, wow, because for me it was like, is this acceptable to just, I know it's the newspaper wasn't, and we all have our opinions, but front page, just people on the beach, you're calling all of them literally idiots because they wanted to go to the beach. So if that was okay, if that
Count
was
me in. I was at the
acceptable,
beach. I'm one of them idiots.
right? So exactly, right? So I think if that was acceptable and that was front page news and that was okay for somebody to make an executive decision that, hey, yeah, we're going to call all of these people idiots because they decided to go to the beach. I think you could call people who continuously decide to make retarded decisions about our healthcare retarded. Hey, yeah, let's wear it. Let's wear it. You know what I mean? Because it's really, like you say, stop fluffing it up or making it pretty or making it chunky. Fat is fat. Retarded is
Just
retarded.
for the record, even though they wanted 80% herd immunity, well, I'm part of the 20% to make that 80% real because I chose not to take the jab because one of the shots were made from chimpanzee cells and the other was made from aborted fetal tissue.
Right.
And those people who went with the aborted fetal tissue, I wonder if they're the right for lifers or how that works. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
But I can't have you injecting me with animal body parts, and I'm not going to eat animal body parts.
Correct.
And that's why I never took the jab.
Correct.
And it turns out I don't want to be. They were calling me the super spreader, me the idiot.
Right.
Call me what you want, but I stand healthy.
Right.
And I'm going to the beach and I'm enjoying life. And I never caught COVID, and I'm not about to catch COVID.
Yes.
Okay. I know something's going to jump out the bushes and grab me one day. I know I'm going to come for something. But I'm not going to do it to myself.
Yes.
Okay? I'm going to eat properly, and I'm going to fight any diseases that I can while I can. And I'm going to teach my children and grandchildren to do that.
Yeah.
because that's what life and the struggle is all about.
Yeah,
But if
and you,
your children, grandchildren, if one if 1 out of 42 males now have autism, we should stop right there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we look at so many things in the world, and again, it's the serenity prayer coming back to me again, of the things that we get so angry and frustrated with, so many things that we don't have direct impact on. And the things like our healthcare, like what are we choosing to buy and choosing to eat, we do have impact on that. The oil that you fry your foods in, what you decide to put in your mouth and your body every single day, you have control over that. And those things can impact your family and your genetics and your DNA and your quality of life so much more than the things that you're out there getting angry and frustrated about, that you really ain't gonna have a real impact on for today.
Right, right.
So these and this is the power, and this is the blessing of healthy choices, that when you are living a healthy life, when you do have a healthy body, when you do have a healthy mind, you have the power to make more empowered decisions for yourself, for your family, for your legacy, for your lineage. And that impacts your world, and that impacts your future, and that impacts your children, and that impacts your generations and generations to come. So I think, again, the whole point of this is, how do we bless ourselves? And I
How
don't want
much?
I
How
don't
much
want
is an
how much is amputation?
Sorry to cut you off. How
Go
much?
ahead.
What is the cost per amputation?
I never want to find out. I don't know. I don't care to know.
Okay, good. Because so don't listen. In the United States, it's
Uh-huh.
$150,000 per
Ooh.
amputation.
Woo.
As to what the
Oh,
cost. So when you add
uh,
up medicine,
uh,
doctor's fees, hospital fees, lost wages, prosthesis, home nursing care, when you
uh,
add it all up, it's $150,000 per amputation. But there's good news. In the Caribbean, it's only $100,000
mm,
per amputation.
oh,
So what they're telling me in the Caribbean, to cut my leg off, it's free. It's
mm,
100 because it's NIH, right? But
uh-huh.
to save my leg is going to cost me out of my pocket.
Oh, wow.
So the
Wow.
prevention is not free,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
where there's NIH in the
Yeah.
Caribbean, the amputation is completely free.
Free.
Now, who wants that freeness?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna move on with this.
Yes. Let's move on.
At
I
the end
think
of
I
this
think we got
here,
the point in there that let's, yeah. Okay.
everybody read the China study, and the China study, how to dramatically reduce your risk of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes just by changing your diet. High
Yeah.
amounts of animal fats, that was the SFAS, the
Mm-hmm.
saturated fatty acids, and the
Okay.
TFA. High amounts of animal fat triggers cancer and diabetes. High amounts of animal fat triggers autoimmune disorders, which there are so many
So many.
autoimmune disorders nowadays.
Yeah.
All the kids are allergic to peanuts. Everybody's got Crohn's disease. Everybody's
Yeah.
got this and that. It
Yeah.
triggers heart disease,
Yeah.
HIV, AIDS, dementia, Alzheimer's, lower respiratory disease, stroke, and cardiovascular aneurysm, cerebral vascular aneurysm, and
Yeah.
cardiovascular events. Diabetes, influenza, pneumonia, and kidney disease. Everybody's on a dialysis machine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just horrible.
And
Master.
go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No, go
No, you
ahead.
go right ahead.
No, it's just, just while you're listing all of these things, and I mean, all of it is impacted by what we're eating. Simple.
And
Simple.
people don't care.
I mean, there's so much power in making a healthier choice of what you eat.
And people
All
don't
of
care.
these sicknesses, all these illnesses, it's all about what we are putting in our bodies, not what somebody else is doing to you. It's what you're doing to yourself. So when we
Oh,
get
well, I beg the difference. Someone else is doing this to you. The
okay,
food industry, because they want your money. And what are they
yeah,
going to tell you? this is the best food you can buy. So give us
Yeah.
all your money. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're
But you
being
see,
done in.
yes, but I like to take ownership. I have to learn to take ownership, and you can't blame people. It's like, it's like the drug dealer on the corner. Is he getting everybody to come to him to buy the stuff? You know what I mean? Or the abusive husband or the abusive father. Okay, yeah, you didn't see him coming to hit you the first time, but you staying in the house. You still blaming him. There's blame, and then there's accountability and responsibility. And I think if we keep on saying, oh, it's happening to us, as opposed to I'm making this choice, then that's where you give up some of your power. What I was going to say when you were talking about the blue zone as an energy medicine, I pick up on the colors and the energy of stuff. The blue zone, that's your throat chakra. That's your will. That's you deciding, hey, I'm going to be driven by my own personal will. That decision, that blue, mastering diabetes. When you're talking about mastering something, you step into your power, your willpower. You can't be talking about, oh, the food industry is doing it to me. No, the food industry is doing it. Just like the bank industry is coming to get your money, and they're going to be making more money off of your money than your money, but you putting it in the bank. So you got to take responsibility and accountability for yourself. Yeah, all of these things are in play. You got to play chess too and realize, you know what? That's not a good move for me. Of course, they're going to make their move to make their profits, but you got to take responsibility for your own choices and your own decisions.
And there's little to no black banks.
Well, anyway, that's the difference. I was gonna say the Bahamas, but no, it's not black. It's Bahamian owned, but it ain't black Bahamian. But yeah, but and that's the awareness. See, this is the power of awareness. If you don't know, then it's like, you're just blind out there doing stuff. But once you become aware, you can't blame anybody. I know when I go in the supermarket and buy GMO food that I'm making a wrong decision. I'm not blaming the supermarket for that. That's my own personal willpower, and that's my decision.
But we
Do
still do
something
it.
that I know that, hey, this is not the best decision for me. But I take accountability in that. I'm not blaming the supermarket or the food industry. And that's just me.
Yes,
But let's go on. Let's master
but
diabetes.
accountability must be shared by the
Yeah.
people selling. Accountability, like you mentioned, the drug dealer. You can't just blame the person on drugs. You have to blame the dealer.
Yes. Well,
Okay, so it's accountability.
right.
And that's the same thing with us eating. Look at the front of this book, Mastering Diabetes.
Uh-huh.
The revolutionary method to reverse insulin resistance permanently in type 1, type 1.5, type 2, pre-diabetes, and gestational diabetes. And they didn't put type 3 diabetes on there, which is Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So it's some serious stuff, and it's reversible.
Right.
Mastering Diabetes examines how a low-fat, plant-based, whole foods diet is the most powerful way to reverse insulin resistance in all types of diabetes, 1, 1.5, 2, 3, pre-diabetes, and gestational. Yep, everybody's got choices, but nope, about 80% of the people don't want to hear it. They like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or 90%. And those people live right here in the Caribbean who don't give a flying fish about their children and their grandchildren's genetic structure.
Lifestyle changes aren't easy.
Everybody I talk to got a autistic child, or oh, they're just on the spectrum. What? That doesn't make autism any better because you're on the spectrum. And you know what actually helps to reverse autism is change of diet. But no, they're still giving them fried cheese and grease, animal fats, and they're making it worse. Proteinaholics. How our obsession with meat is killing us and what we can do about it. This dude here is a bariatric surgeon, Dr. Garth Davis. He says it's all bullshit. He said everything that he does, people lose weight up to about a year, then they gain it all back. He said, you have to change your lifestyle. if you want to lose
Yeah.
weight and keep it on. You
It
have
is.
to change your lifestyle.
And I mean, I think we're about uh 15, maybe 15, 20 years, but you can attest for it. I can attest for it. The older you get, the harder it is to maintain that healthy body. You know what I mean? You have to make the adjustments as we can't do things in your 20s in terms of diet that you were doing in your 30s and your 40s and your as you get older, you have to make these adjustments to nutrition and lifestyle. You just do. Your body is
Well, I
actually
got
telling
older
you to.
to age 18 and a half, which is when I stopped eating Philly cheesesteaks.
That
So
you
I
all
didn't
you
wait till I was 85 to stop eating
yeah,
poison. Okay,
yeah.
I stopped at 18. Now I'm celebrating 50 years of being meat free.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
So
I
how
think
much
I
meat?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Mm-mm.
How much meat is too much meat? Is your meat grass-fed, free range, or cage-free? Processed meat is not as fresh as you think it is. Now, I just have a few take-home tips and we'll be done.
Okay.
Never eat or use vegetable oil. What vegetables are in vegetable oil, Peter?
I have no idea.
Okay, because vegetable oil makes the endothelial lining of arteries as crispy fried chicken.
Mm.
Okay, so you eating that crispy fried, which is delicious, but that which made it crispy, the oil it was
Mm.
fried in, it does the exact same things to the lining of your arteries.
Oh, wow.
Exact same thing.
Oh,
And then
wow.
everyone's got arterial disease.
Right. Oh, wow. That's
Eat.
interesting. So the oil
Well, let
is
me answer
literally
your,
the oil is frying up your organs
well, the oil is
or
frying, and
shrinking.
you said the exact right word, both right words. One is frying them up, and when you
Mhm.
fry up your arteries, you get less blood supply to the nerves, and the arteries and the nerves begin to wither or shrink, like you said.
Okay.
And when they wither, and guess what brain disease is a withering of the brain?
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the vegetable oil.
Mm.
Eat, never heat. Olive oil, great for salads, drizzling in place of butter, but never heat olive oil because it has a low flash point. Cook with coconut oil. It has
Okay.
a higher flash point. Canola. Did you know this healthy, super healthy oil is canola? Canola is an acronym
For the
for
Canada
Canadian
oil.
oil.
Uh,
It's made from the rapeseed plant. Have you ever heard of the rapeseed?
is that different from grapeseed? Not grapeseed.
Well, if you take the G off of that little round thing called a grape,
Right. It's rape.
it's rape seed. That's where canola oil comes from.
Oh,
No
wow.
G. And now what? And you act like you don't know what rapeseed is, right?
Right.
So why do we say this is the best oil we can eat? Why is it so delicious for us? And we don't even know where it comes from.
And the thing
Most
is,
oil.
canola, canola oil, all of a sudden, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? And I literally like, what is I'm so glad you said that because I literally been like, what is canola? Like all of a sudden it's just canola oil. Canola, be like, my spirit has been asking, but what is canola? And you just told me. So it's not
Okay,
man,
when
awareness.
one of them sexy high school female teachers dates and has sex with her 16-year-old student, that's
Right.
rape. RAPE, not grape, rape.
Rapeseed.
Okay. So that's what canola oil is from, the rape seed plant, not
Mm,
grapes. All
mm,
right. And all of the oils are extracted with hexane, which I wonder why it smells like gasoline, butane, hexane.
mm.
Hmm. Oh,
Wow.
it's a gasoline product. So you're
Uh,
telling me all of the oils in the store, well, I'm telling everybody, all oils in the store, by the time they extract it with hexane, all oil comes out dark, and it's a 20-step process to make it pretty again.
it does, because I've noticed that, Doc. I've cooked with it. I've noticed when I'm using that canola oil versus the coconut oil, it turns everything dark very soon. If I even just I cook with a lot of garlic, I put a little bit of oil in the garlic, and I've noticed how it literally it's burning everything so much quicker. So yeah, no more canola oil for me. No more
I,
canola oil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, take home tip. No good fat from bad trans mega fats. You got to know the
Uh-huh.
difference. Lipids are fats.
Okay.
Cholesterol and triglycerides are lipids. Everybody's cholesterol this, cholesterol that, metabolic syndrome, and they actually serve as a source of energy. So cholesterol is good. Triglycerides are good. It's when you have the abundance of them.
Okay.
Lipoprotein, glycolipids, and phospholipids. Those are actually lipoproteins are good for you. And in the 1900s, there was no cardiovascular disease, like we were talking
Okay.
about the 1950s.
Okay.
But in 1950, it started becoming the #1 cause of death, cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
Because of the paradigm shift in the way we eat.
Okay.
Dr. Keat, he started telling everybody that margarine is the best thing for you. And margarine is one molecule away from plastic, but everybody loves margarine. Oh, it's just like butter. It tastes so good. Oh, it's so yellow. Oh, it spreads so nice on my bread because it's plastic.
All right.
Okay,
Let me break
never.
this before we move from this one. Just okay. So the lipid, the lipoproteins, the glycolipids, and the phospholipids, they are good for us. Those are good for us. Those are good things.
Yes, that's a
Okay.
good thing. In moderation, all
In
of it just
moderation.
body
Okay.
parts, and it's part of the flow.
And
And
where do we find most of these nutrients, the lipo proteins, or where do we find these, and what type of foods are you mostly finding these ingredients, these
these
supplements?
are in the human body.
Oh,
And this is where these are types of lipo meaning fat, like lipids. And
right.
these are the proteins that carry, these are the energy molecules that carry energy and signals. So if the brain needs some more something, one of the lipoproteins heads to the brain. It develops a little spike signal on the outer phospholipid layer. So
Okay.
these are transporter molecules, but there's so much sugar in our bodies, they're shutting down transporter molecules.
Okay, okay. So sugar cut, these are okay, whatever word you use. These are I want to say helpers in our bodies, helping us to be better, but the sugar is shutting
Yeah,
us down.
helpers, transporters, right.
Right, okay, but the sugars shut these down. So that's what we want to avoid by taking in a lot of foods with sugars because they're shutting down our lipoproteins, our glycolipids, and our phospholipids, which are the good fats that we do need in our body to help our brain function or to just to help our body function better.
Just not in such excess. And
Okay,
not the
got it.
ones with bad signals. Correct.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And you're saying before the 1900s, there was no cardiovascular disease because of the foods we were eating. They weren't attacking these lipoproteins, glycolipids, phospholipids. So we weren't having that strain on the body.
Let me make it easy on you.
Okay.
Sugar and salt used to be a form of payment. They used to pay the Greek soldiers in salt.
I know that. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Mhm.
It was for the upper class people that could afford it. Well, now all of a sudden, everything can be sweet, and we really shouldn't have all that sweetness. And the upper class was formerly and never is, still not known as the working class. It's the worker bees that need strength and energy. And us worker bees can't get soft. And all this stuff makes people soft, weak, gives you autoimmune diseases, gives you cancer and heart disease. Most diabetics die from heart disease, not from diabetes, but from heart disease. And after 1950, the whole world has been changing. When I started practicing early 1982, there was no polyneuropathies, or were no polyneuropathies. There were no numbness, diabetic neuropathies. There was so many things there weren't in 1982. When the patients come in, they just had this, that, or the other. Now when the patients come in, you got to check them for diabetes, autoimmune disorders, cancers. You just got to check them for everything because all this stuff has increased. And if you don't check it, then they say you're a bad doctor. No, you're the bad patient for coming in with all this crap and not knowing it. And I just want to do this ingrown nail right quick, but now I got to give you a full metabolic panel profile and try to figure out what the hell is wrong with you and get you to the appropriate doctor from an ingrown toenail that you could lose your toe or leg or foot from.
Yeah.
So
What
be very careful.
What I hear too is like, when you just said that concept of the worker bee, and it's almost like, okay, if you want to stay healthy, you want to have a healthy body to work, right, to live. But at the same time, it's almost like it went from, let's make sure that they could stay working to be those worker bees, to, okay, but we could also make them sick and just let them pay instead of us paying them to do the work, we'll recoup that money, we'll get them sick, and then they'll be giving us basically all of the money that they earned. So, so you live half of your life working this 9 to 5 and making yourself sick. And then you get to a point where you're so sick that you can't work, and all of that money that you accumulated over the years, you're now giving right back to them to pay for your health, because you neglected your health in terms of your diet. You know what I mean? So we're gonna work you to death, and then when you're gonna pay us on your dying bed as you're going down. Right. And it's an endless, you know what I mean? And then because now we haven't taught your next generation to get off of this cycle, then you're teaching your children how to work.
You know what the biggest problem is going to be?
Consume sickness and then give us back that money and stay sick. It's a vicious cycle.
That diabetes comes on people in elementary school now from obesity. They have childhood diabetes. Yeah. And you know what it causes the worst? Now, the Bahamas and the Caribbean have always been known for its virile men. So tourists can come down here and find a date and take care of business. But guess what?
What?
All these men are diabetic. Half of the men are diabetic, not all of them. And they all have erectile dysfunction.
They're going to Africa now.
So I guess they get to hug, if nothing else. Because they have erectile dysfunction from endothelial destruction in their arteries.
Wow.
And polyneuropathies and nerve damage. And therefore, they have ED.
Listen up, fellas, right. Listen up. It affects us in so many ways.
They don't care. They don't care.
Well, they'll get the Viagra. They'll just get the there's a pill for it. And that's the part of the problem too. There's a pill for everything. Supposedly there's a pill or a shot for everything. So who needs to really be aware? Who really needs to take action? Who really needs to give access or give themselves access? Because, hey, like you said, I'll just take the pill, doc.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish up these last 2 slides. I got another engagement.
No problem. Let's wrap it up.
Good carbs are your friends. There was a warning ignored in 1958 by Dr. Mary Ng about the dangers of trans fats present in hydrogenated oils. Everyone ignored it. The majority of type 2 diabetics die from heart disease. We must eliminate the excessive MUFAs, PUFAs, trans fats, meat and dairy products, and you'll be virtually heart attack proof. Olestra oil, another cheap oil, came out in the 80s maybe, and there's been cheap oils produced since Napoleon was knee-high to a tadpole. But cholesterol oil was making people poop their pants. They thought they
Wow.
had gas after eating the chips cooked in cholesterol oil. And all of a sudden, it wasn't gas, it was liquid coming out your rectum. All right, so
Wow.
1950s, we went from eating 18 pounds to 4 pounds of sugar. And we went from eating 18 to 4 pounds of sugar, and from 11 pounds to 59 pounds of
Ooh.
margarine,
Ooh. Oh
which
my.
equals cardiovascular
Oh.
disease.
Okay. But so less sugar, but more fat. But either which way, the balance is off. Ooh.
Right. And in
Yeah.
1800, Napoleon III had a contest to invent a product that wouldn't spoil, because they were all about shipping and import exports. Epilloid mesmerie, which is what they came up with, is from tallow leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And margaritari is Greek for pearl. So they're getting the oils out of these plants and turning it into a margarine. And margarine has a fake molecule that's like plastic. And the foods don't spoil when you put this fake margarine in it, because it's fake, and
Oh.
foods never spoil. Avoid distorted fats and sugars. A half teaspoon of sugar puts your white blood cells to sleep for 4 hours. And white blood cells are very important to fight illnesses, fight germs, and indicate infection levels. Trans fats kill cells in your entire body. New is DANGS, de novo epigenetic syndrome, or de novo gene mutation syndrome. A tenfold increase in autism, which is higher in males. Finally, and in conclusion, sugar makes us too sticky inside by my favorite word, non-enzymatic glycation. And that's when sugar binds to whatever the hell it wants to without an enzyme to make it happen. Like in the Krebs cycle and these different energy pathways in the body, there's always an enzyme to activate the next pathway. But sugar, it's just going to stick to anything, fats, lipids and fats, proteins, etc. Big Pharma has no technical solution for this. There is no pill to take. It's throwback lifestyles in the house. Let's go back, go way back, like Jimmy Castor and Troglodyte and Bertha Butt. We need to do more dancing and non-alcoholic partying.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
Lifestyle change.
Thank you, Doc. I won't keep you long. I just leave the people with one word. Just if you want to leave them with one thing, just leave the people with one word. What you got for them?
Lifestyle.
All right.
Lifestyle.
That's one word.
That's one word. If it was 2 words, it'd be lifestyle change.
Yeah. And that's the key. That's the key. Take all this information and decide for yourself how you can make a lifestyle change that will literally bless yourself. No margarine, no canola oil, much less fats, much less sugar, more locally grown and organic grown food. If you can only do those, commit to doing those 5 things before the end of this year, gradually, it will change your life. It will change your diet, and it'll change your health. So give yourself that little blessing and bless yourself. Go ahead, Doc.
Speaking of lifestyle change, you and your group, which is how I met you, through a 5-day live food to start off every month.
That's not my group, but the group that I've joined. Yes, doing 5 days of raw a month. Yes.
They do all salads, and I learned that you can eat avocado seed. I didn't know that if you shred it. A lot of things when I was looking at that. But just when that was coming about, you and I knew someone, and we won't mention any names, of course.
Right.
But that person had a chronic cough.
Yes.
They joined the live food challenge, and they stopped eating the type of meats that they were eating.
Yeah.
And so instead of writing them a prescription for cough medication, they changed their lifestyle, and the cough went away.
Yep, true story. True
So we
story.
need to consider, stop treating the symptoms and work on the cause.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I gotta say.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Doc. I'm so blessed to have met you. And Doc is not only my foot guru, he's keeping my foot in order, but he has my mind going, challenging me. He isn't doing it, but just by the presence of his energy and who he is, and us bumping into each other. I know that I gotta turn up the notch on my decisions and my choices of what I'm putting in my body, and I am. So this is how I'm continuing to bless myself, and I hope you are able to watch this and pick up something from this that allows you to bless yourself as well. Thank you for joining me on this next this different take on how we bless ourselves in a longer version than I usually do. But thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Bye. Bye, Doc. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.
Oh, my pleasure. You take care.
Same to
And
you. Have a
thanks
beautiful
again.
day.
All right, all right.